What's going on, guys, and welcome back. So we got the DCS 5 coming pretty fast. You just saw the preview of the playmat. I have DCS 3 and 4 playmats behind me. They all turned out really nice. James does a fantastic job working on them. Number 5 coming very soon, January 8th and 9th. You can come hang out with us here, obviously, if you don't plan on playing, or you can come try and win some of that $2,000 plus prizing, and there's really nowhere else that you can win $700 cash for first place in a tournament. So it's going to be a lot of fun. 128 player cap, so do not miss out. But it's that time of the season where we're here to discuss ban lists. I'm going to kind of discuss how I personally think it should go, like what I think will happen, and then I do have a category of my personal wants, so we'll kind of go from there and talk about my wish list afterwards. But I do want to talk about like actual things that should or could happen first. So without further ado, let's jump on into it. So as far as banned cards go, I was kind of on the fence here. I'm only going to talk about one right now. I think only one card is going to get banned, and that's Imperial Order. I don't think anything else will go, and we'll discuss other cards later because I know there's a few, at least 3 or 4 that everyone wants to hear here. But personally, I think Imperial Order is really the only card that's going to get chopped. And again, we'll discuss kind of why later. So why should Imperial Order be banned? Well, it takes away like an entire huge portion of the game. It's really not that fun, and it's like, well, we need hard counters to these spell cards and things like that. Well, I mean, we have anti-spell fragrance, which isn't quite as strong, which is why it's at 3, but it's a decent counter to them. And personally, Imperial Order just really takes a lot of the fun out of the game. It's oppressive. It's won so many games and tournaments on its own, and like the card it's just really, really oppressive and doesn't really promote interactive gameplay. So I do have that as my only banned card. Limited, we're really not hitting hardly anything on this list. We're just going to bring back a whole bunch of stuff and watch how it fixes the format. Limited, of the top few decks, mainly being like, Sky Striker DP, we're not going to hit Sky Striker at all. Sword Soul's too new, we're not going to hit Sword Soul. Flow Under Rees is more of a tier 2 deck, we're not going to hit them. But we're not going to hit the Lyra Lusk engine either, but we're going to go after the Tri-Brigade part, and Fractal being the main one because they can just like discard it and dump any of their Lyra Lusk to the graveyard and really kick off their plays that way. And really any variant abusing Tri-Brigade, Fractal is pretty important, so putting Fractal to 1 I think will be a good check on that deck. It's been long enough that Tri-Brigade can get hit at this point. Magical Meltdown, like the Invoked engine, I'm personally tired of seeing Invoked, sorry Luke and everyone else who likes the deck, but we've been tired of it for a while, and if any card in that engine gets hit, it's going to be Meltdown to 1 because nothing else makes sense. And that's actually it for my hit cards. There's 3 hits, that's it. I think the format we're in is actually pretty healthy and it's pretty decent. Funny that we can say we're in a healthy format with Imperial Order, Mystic Mine, Winda, Dragoon, Verde Anaconda, the wind barrier statue of the Storm Winds, with Artifact Scythe, with Arch Nemesis Protoss, and it's a healthy format. But I really do think it is, like, there's a lot of diversity, and I know a lot of decks include DPE, but Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer for those who don't know. But I still think that like that card, it really does give a lot of decks playability. Like you can play it in, obviously your Sky Strikers, your Drytrons, your tier 1, tier 2 decks, but you can play it in really anything. Like Cyber Dragon's a really strong rogue deck that can play it. Just like Invoked without anything else, just hand traps and DPEs playable. Like I said, Sky Striker pushes them to like high tier 2. I don't know. I like cards like that personally. I don't think it's unoriginal or anything like that. I really do like what it brings to the table. So obviously we have other cards that we need to talk about, right? So what cards can come back? If we're done hitting cards, what cards can come back? So we're going to continue going through our limited section, and we are going to go Orcust Harport. I really do think Harp comes back. I've been saying it for quite a while now, and it's time. Like Orcust isn't very good, and even with Harp at 1, then there'll be a strong tier 2 maybe, but they're not going to be like meta defining tier 1 again, anything like that. They'll be a strong tier 2 deck if we bring Harp Horror back to 1, and I think that really is fair. Everyone pretty much says it's time to bring another Dragon Ruler back, so which one are we going to bring back? I mean, you can look at a plethora of reasons, but I think Blaster has the best chance to come back. But I'm going to go one step further and say I forgot what that new water type coming out is, and also with the Shark deck just coming out too. I think Tidal comes back to 1, and why should we stop with Blaster and Tidal? Why not bring Redox back to like all 3 Dragon Rulers? People are going to panic, these cards are going to spike, and then we're going to realize they're not really going to do a whole lot. Like I said, Tidal will get used, Blaster might see a little bit of play here or there, kind of like how the, can't even think now, the, oh wow, the one that actually is legal, and that's obviously the only one I can't think of the name offhand, but how it saw a little bit of play in like Dragon Link decks and certain variants. I think Redox would see the most play being in a deck like Adamantipator. It'll give them a little stronger play and some more follow-up, but again, I don't think that they would be a tier 1 deck. I think they'd be a really strong tier 2 deck with Redox at 1, kind of like how Orcust would get that buff up to a really strong tier 2. For those of you new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. When I do my tier lists, I won't put more than like 3 or 4 decks at tier 1 because I don't think there can be that many tier 1 decks. Like, tiers kind of are defined by the player base, usually accepted on like a percentage of tournaments that you're topping. So you can't have 10 decks topping 13, 14%. Like, there's not 130% in the pool to play from. Like, you can have 3 or 4 tier 1 decks and that's it. I've seen videos with like 10 or 12, and that's just not how a tier system works. 3 to 4 tier 1 decks. So keep that in mind when I say like Orcust and Adamantipator would be strong tier 2. Astrograph Sorcerer, it could have came back a while ago. As long as Electromite stays banned, I really don't think Astrograph at 1 is going to do anything. Denglong is another card that should have, could have, and eventually, hopefully, will come back. Putting it at 1, Konami will see like, hey, we can actually probably bring this card back to 3 and nobody will care. So that does round out our limited section. Semi-limited, I'm in the minority that actually kind of likes this list for like that bridge between bringing a card all the way back, or just certain cards I think fit it too really well, Called by the Grave being one. But unfortunately that's not going to happen because again, this is not a wish list, this isn't necessarily a think list. I mean, obviously it's what I think is going to happen, but what I really think is going to happen is Called by is going to stay at 1. So that's all we're going to mention about that. But A Hero Lives, I think, comes back to 2. And then I don't know if that card can quite go to 3 or not. That's kind of one of those bridge cards. Like Mally is obviously a really good semi-limited example. I think A Hero Lives goes to semi-limit though on this list, and also 1 for 1. 1 for 1's another card that I think fits that really, really well, where it can be semi-limited. Some could argue unlimited because, I mean, it's just like hard negate bait, and then you neg so hard, and I don't know. Personally, I don't want to see it back to 3 yet. I would like to see it go to semi-limited and see if anyone really plays it, and then go from there. Unlimiteds, we have Dynamite. Like, come on, Draco's done absolutely nothing in what, 4-5 years now, so like, come on, like, Draco can come back. The last time Draco was good was when it was a splashed engine and Sky Striker, and Dynamite can come back to 3 no problem. Errata on Red MD, well, the Errata makes it like okay. People, I don't know if I would play more. I'd rather just have Black Metal and use that and search it out and get it that way. Maybe 2, but I definitely wouldn't even play 3 in Dragon Link if we did get it to 3 with the Errata. Like I said, Red MD can go back to 3, no issues, no problem. Danger Nessie just went to 2, and absolutely nobody cares. The price spiked up, nobody played it, the price comes back down, Danger Nessie goes to 3 this list. Same thing happens. It could be fun in certain decks as an extender, but it really doesn't enable too much on its own, and really doesn't enable that much, period. Like, I don't know, I don't think it's that good. It'd see some play, like I said, definitely more play at 3 than 2, but like realistically it's not gonna do a whole lot if Danger Nessie comes back to 3. Skull Crobat, again, hasn't done anything. What's Pendulum done in forever? Astrograph to 1's Crobat to 3, and maybe Pendulum becomes like a mid to low tier 2 deck. They're not going to be a high tier 2 even then. Like you'll have your Jeremy Mitchell, your Triff level players who will do good with the deck, but realistically Pendulum could get those 2 cards and they're going to be, well, not much better than they are now. Trick Stars, however, they would be much better than they are right now, and that means going from a bad deck, unfortunately, sorry Brock, to a maybe rogue deck. Like, I don't think Trickstar would be that good again. Late stage to 3 hurts way too much. It doesn't enable enough on its own. The best part about it is not that it's a free link too, because that's so scary. We have like 50 of those just in like the meta decks. It feels like free link 2s are absolutely everywhere. I like its force your opponent to activate a back row card or pop it effect far more, and I think it is way more impactful and way stronger. But like, come on, like what is late stage still like at 1 for? There's no reason for it. Late stage should be at 3. Like, come on. Okay, so that is what I think is going to happen. We got the 3 hits. We got the 6 cards going to 1 from banned. We got 2 cards going to semi-limit, and we got 5 cards going unlimited. What would I like to see? These are wish list cards. These are cards I don't like. I'd be surprised if any of these happened, but I would be very happy if they happened. Arch Nemesis Protoss card, I would be ecstatic to see this card get banned. Again, this is not happening, but I would love to see this card get banned. I think that it just really isn't a fun playing card. It would be a check to Sword Soul, and how else do you hit Sword Soul without actually hitting Sword Soul? You take away their basically, well, I'm taking away your special summoning before you can even do anything about it cards. So hitting Protoss, I feel like would actually be a pretty good hit, but I just don't see it happening. Likewise, Artifact Scythe, I don't see it happening. As much as I'd love to say get this card out of here because of DPE making it so splashed and easy to pop it on your opponent's turn, and obviously Dagda gets you to search it out, I don't think it's going to get hit. I'd be happy if it does, but Scythe to 0 is kind of just a wish list, and we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong and those cards will get hit and I'll be really, really happy, but I'm not going to expect it or bank on that to happen. Nadir's Servant, I actually bounce around a lot on if this card should go to 1 or to 2, and I think if it goes to 1, Winda is not a problem. The advantage Nadir's Servant gives, like, why can we have 3 Nadir Servant and Spellbook of Judgment at 0? Like, both cards generate so much advantage, and I can't justify Nadir at 3, and unless we're hitting like Winda to 1 too, so that way if you out it, it's outed. I mean, there's still some ways to get cards back, obviously, because we know how creative certain players can get. I think unless we're hitting Winda 2 though, Nadir to 1 like just clears up that whole issue, that whole problem, all that mess all at once. Putting it to 2, I would almost like to see Winda also go to 1 then, and I'd rather just hit 1 card than having to hit 2. So I think Nadir to 1 would be really smart and good. I just don't see it happening with the Albaz structure deck on the horizon, because obviously this card can play in with the archetype. The thing I would most like to see, like, we could have absolutely 0 ban list, and if Colossus went to 1, I would be the happiest guy ever. Like, I can't say what did this card ever do. This card deserved everything that it got, but I wish it would have went to 1 for a format first. Like, well, most of us predicted it going to 1 when it got banned, and I get what they did. They shifted the whole format. They wanted to change everything, but like Colossus, I would love to see it at 1. I get why it's banned. I get why it hasn't come back. I just personally would love to see Colossus at 1. And it's banlist season, guys. We have to talk about this card. You can't do a banlist discussion without talking about this card. Final card I would like to see happen is actually another hit. We could have saved Colossus, I guess, for last since it's the one coming back. But I'm really tired of like Tri-Brigade variants of Bird Up. And the best way to hit the Lyrilusk engine, I think, without hitting any of the newest cards is Recital Starling to 1. It's a free search. It's not once per turn. Hit it to 1, kind of like Benton. Like, If they can find a way to recycle it, reuse it, they can recycle and reuse it, same as Benton. But like, put it to 1 and just kind of restrict very slightly the engine. And that's kind of it for my ban list plus what I would like to see. But I can't end the video there because there's still at least, what, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 cards I have here that I know you guys are going to want my reasoning on why we didn't ban them, why we didn't limit them semi-unlimited, why I didn't even mention it as what I would like to see. And personally, with what I would like to see, I would like to see all these cards stay right where they are, so there's no point in putting them in that section. Maxi, stay banned. There's no reason to bring Maxi back. Maxi's not coming back, but it's a ban list discussion video, so we must discuss Maxi. Let's put Pot of Greed to 3 too. That's how much sense Maxi makes. Let's do it. Come on. Mystic Mine. Why ban Mystic Mine? Play back row removal. It's not that hard. You have no problem playing 9 hand traps. You have no problem playing 10 hand traps. You have no problem playing 3 Droplet, 3 Trellis, 3 Dark Ruler no more, and 6 hand traps. Play back row removal. It's not that hard of a concept. Mystic Mine is perfectly fine, and I think that as a card it needs to stay at 3. Winda, I pretty much gave my thoughts on that with Nadir Servant. Personally, I don't want to see Winda get touched at all. I'd rather see Nadir go to 1, and I think that would clear up the Winda problem on its own. If Nadir went to 2, I think Winda to 1 would make the most sense. Winda's not ban worthy though. Like, if you can't out Winda, you can't out Winda, I guess. Like, I don't know. Winda's not ban worthy. Dragoon, why would we do that to Red Eyes and Dark Magician? Because who else plays Dragoon? Guru, maybe? I mean, Cyber Dragon still plays it too, but like, come on guys, Dragoon's not a problem. It never was. It never had a time where it took over the meta, and Phoenix Enforcer has already done more in the meta than Dragoon ever did. Like, it saw its time with Eldritch and like Dogmatica Invoked Eldritch, Dragoon Eldritch. Like, it had those and a little bit of time with Drytron, but outside of that, Dragoon like hardly ever saw meta play. Verde Anaconda. Oh, plus it just got a star light rare. It's not getting banned. Verde Anaconda. So aside from the fact that Dragoon just got a Starlight rare, which I'm sure someone will say, well, Branded Fusion can get it out for free without Verde, without Red Eyes Fusion, without all that, so that's why I got a Starlight rare. Well, okay, I guess that's a fair point, but it's not true. Verde, on the other hand, now moving forward, is not getting touched. It just got reprinted. Wouldn't be the first time, right? I know, I get it. Putting it to 1 does next to nothing. Putting it to 2 does absolutely nothing. Leaving it at 3 does as much as putting it to 2. And banning it does what I think a lot of people would still play the Phoenix Enforcer package, because they play it knowing that they can open the fusion card and not brick. That's why they play 3 of the fusion card. Some would drop it, yes, some would, because this is the failsafe. But they don't play 3 of the fusion spell relying on Verde. Like, if that was the goal, why would they put the 2 bricks in their deck? If they relied on Verde to get to the fusion, they wouldn't play 3 of the fusion spell. I don't think Verde going banned makes sense at all, I guess. It's borderline ban worthy. I think I would have said it was more with Dragoon on the horizon. But just seeing the way this format's developing, I really don't think Verde is that big of a problem. Like I said, personally, I'm actually kind of happy with the format and where we're at. So I think Verde can stay. The Simorgh Bird of Sovereignty, this one or Barrier Statue of the Storm wins. Like, I've seen them in a lot of ban list discussion videos, and I don't think we need to hit them. Like, you're going to hit the Wind Statue because, what, Floandrees plays it? Because Bird Up quit. They don't play it no more. We're going to hit this card for what? To stop an Apex Avian? Like, I don't know. I don't see either one of them cards getting hit. And finally, the last card, kind of from the End of Eternal format. I think it's the only big deck that got a hit that we haven't talked about yet, or that hasn't already come back. Like, we mentioned Thunder Dragon, we mentioned Orcust, Salad and Striker already got their cards back. Electromite's gonna stay banned. I don't know, it's too strong of a card, and I think that Konami would give them Astrograph back, give them 3 Skull Crobat back. I think they'd give them these other cards back before we saw anything like Electromite coming back. And I guess that's kind of just my hot take on that. So let me know what you guys thought. Did you like the video the way that was laid out? Was my audio better? I am reworking the Lyrilusk how to beat 10-minute takedown video because I saw some comments and I actually went through and listened to it, and I'm not sure what happened because in editing it sounded great and then on YouTube it did not. So I do apologize for that. That video will be back up soon and it will be much better this time around. But this is my ban list video. I hope it's up to you guys' liking, and it was, like I said, more of a actual possibility of happening and less of a personal hopeful wish list vendetta against the meta. Like I said, I actually like the format, that's why we only hit 3 cards, but we shall see. Let me know down below what you liked, what you didn't, what you think will get banned, and until next time guys, take care, come see us at the DCS in January. Have a good one.